Hello, everyone. We have a new guest, and this is Gavin. So, Gavin, why don't you tell us a little bit about yourself?
All right. Hi, I'm Gavin. I'm studying physics, doing a PhD at the University of Maryland. Um, I did my undergrad in physics and math at Tulane University. And now I am doing research in nonlinear optics and plasma physics.
That's great. So you study physics now, but what really got you interested in that? And like when exactly did you find that physics was the path that you wanted to go down?
hmm So I first got interested in physics when I was back in high school and took my AP physics course there. I just really enjoyed the all the math behind everything and how everything was, just the derivations of all the rules and all the laws was really fun. But what really got me interested in physics for grad school was taking more of my elective level classes in undergrad. Like my first elective that I took was an optics course,
Mhm.
which I just thought was super cool. When my teacher first put like Maxwell's equations down on the board and when explained all of them, just the amount of information that you could pack into those, short, concise equations was really, really pretty impressive. And I just really enjoyed learning about that, listening to that, and getting involved in all the things that you could do with that.
Yeah, I guess what exactly was like your experience with computer science, and how have you seen it like used in specifically in your classes and your research, and like in general, how do you think that it's incorporated into
Yeah,
physics?
yeah. So computer science has gotten pretty important for physics. Not necessarily knowing the ins and outs of how like the computers and everything works, but knowing how to code is very important. That's something that I was a bit behind on in undergrad. I had to take courses in undergrad on programming, and I've had to
Hmm.
do a lot of teaching myself how to do, use Mathematica, use Python, MATLAB, stuff like that for my research. And I'm even in a field that doesn't I don't need to use a whole lot of computer science, but many of my friends, all of their research is just computer science. And there's definitely a emerging kind of research area in physics. Generally you kind of separate research into there's theoretical research and there's experimental research. And now there's this, third area of research that's computational research or numerical research where most of your work is crunching numbers and finding better ways to solve problems that can't be solved with pen and paper using computers, which is really impressive to see, but not something that my research is really affected by, but definitely know a lot of people are working on that. There's a lot of research going on in that area.
Okay, yeah, that definitely makes sense. But in your research specifically, you're working on nonlinear optics, but where do you see quantum science in general kind of impacting that field of study that you're working on, and as well as kind of the long-term impact in general, the next decade or so?
Mm-hmm. Well, quantum mechanics definitely has an impact in my field, even though most of what I do is through, classical mechanics. But everything can be analyzed quantum mechanically, and that can
Okay.
give a lot of insight into, the different processes that we look at. So, for example, one thing that or I use a lot in my research is it's called like the Manley-Rowe relation, and
Mm,
it's really it basically just says that energy is conserved when you send light through materials, which is
yeah.
a very basic thing. But when you study it quantum mechanically, it really comes into its like photon conservation. When you quantize the light, the Manley-Rowe relation shows that the photons that you send into the material, the number of them is the same as exits out of them, and that has some important meaning to it. And examining all of the processes that we can examine classically through a quantum mechanical lens leads to a lot of insight in what's actually going on, in the material.
Yeah. I mean, energy conservation is one thing, but I guess analyzing it at a particulate level kind of it tells you the same general idea, but then at a more specific level, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I mean, alongside of my field, there's a lot of quantum optics going on,
Hmm.
um, which isn't quite related to what I do, but it's a very very new emerging field that people are really focused on, creating qubits with optics and all that stuff. It's pretty big right now. So
Yeah. Do you think it's like um one of the most important technologies in terms of application, or do you have any personal opinions on what you think would be an important emerging technology for the coming years?
yeah, so different quantum computing and well, really mostly quantum computing is where there's a lot of focus right now. A
Mhm.
lot of that stuff is very important, and there's right now a lot of companies putting a lot of money and a lot of time and effort into trying to produce this. But um, at least my personal opinion is that it's not going to be something that's useful in technology for the next 10 to 20 years probably. Um,
Mhm.
definitely good to do research in it. We want to get to the point where it's useful in technology, but at the moment, it's it still has some time before it gets there.
Mhm.
Um, right now, one of the more important technologies that's currently being used and is like currently implemented in terms of like computing and everything is probably like machine learning and stuff like that, because
Okay.
the amount of progress that they've made in that field is huge, to the point where this stuff is extremely useful to researchers all around the world
Mhm.
across so many different disciplines, from medicine to physics to engineering and all that stuff. It's a technology that's useful right now, and that's probably made one of the biggest impacts at the moment. Quantum computing can get there, but it'll take
Yeah.
a number of years.
Feel like it's quantum computing in general is sort of at like the assembly stage of it, but I
Yeah,
think maybe like integrating quantum into like something like quantum machine learning could probably have like mm, maybe some impacts that are accelerating in the coming years. Maybe.
yeah, that would be pretty big.
Yeah. Well, thank you so much for your time, Gavin. Really
All right.
appreciate it.
Yeah, thanks for having me.